You think you know why you make decisions. You think you understand your own mind. You think the people around you are who they appear to be. Psychology is the science that proves you're wrong about all of it, and it goes much darker than your textbook ever told you. Welcome to Psyche Noir. This channel is where we explore psychology from the very beginning, all the way into its darkest corners. No sugarcoating, no oversimplification, just the truth about how minds work, and sometimes break. Let's start from the very beginning. What is psychology? 1. Psychology is the scientific study of the mind and behavior. 2. It asks 3 fundamental questions. A. Why do we think what we think? B. Why do we feel what we feel? C. And why do we do what we do? The word itself comes from Greek, psyche meaning soul or mind, and logos meaning study. So literally, psychology means the study of the soul. It became a formal science in 1879 when Wilhelm Wundt opened the first psychology laboratory in Leipzig, Germany. Before that, the mind was considered the territory of philosophy and religion. Wundt said, no, the mind can be studied scientifically, and everything changed. Now let's learn a few things about the schools of thought. From the beginning, 7 major schools of thought emerged, each one with a completely different answer to what the mind actually is. They are as follows: structuralism, functionalism, psychoanalysis, Gestalt behaviorism, humanistic psychology, and the last, cognitive psychology. There are a few other schools of thought present in psychology, but we will talk about them some other day. Now let's get to know each of these thoughts a little. Structuralism, Wundt's idea that the mind could be broken into basic elements, like atoms of consciousness. Functionalism. William James disagreed. He said, don't study what the mind is, study what it does. Why do we think? Why do we feel? Because it helped us survive. The mind is a machine built for survival. Draw your own conclusions about what that means for human nature. Psychoanalysis. Freud's dark, controversial theory that your behavior is driven by unconscious desires and repressed memories you don't even know you have. The darkness inside you driving you invisibly. Behaviorism. Watson and Skinner said the mind itself doesn't matter, only behavior. Humans can be conditioned, trained, like animals. Pavlov proved it with a dog and a bell. The implications were terrifying. Gestalt psychology. The mind organizes everything into patterns. It fills in gaps. It sees holes that aren't there. Sounds harmless, until you realize this is exactly why eyewitness testimony sends innocent people to prison. Humanism pushed back against all of this and said humans aren't just animals or machines. We have free will. We have purpose. We choose. Cognitivism. The mind is like a computer, processing information, storing memories, making calculations. Except this computer can be hacked. Dark psychology is the study of how people use psychological tactics to manipulate, control, and influence others. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Here's what your school never told you about psychology. Psychology isn't just therapy and self-help. It is the science behind every manipulation tactic ever used. It is the tool that advertisers use to make you buy things you don't need. It is what cult leaders use to control thousands of followers. It is what abusers use to trap their victims. It is what criminals use, consciously or unconsciously, when they commit crimes. And it is what forensic psychologists use to understand criminals, to profile them, to predict their behavior, to bring them to justice. The Stanford prison experiment showed that ordinary people, students, became sadistic guards within days when given power. The Milgram experiment showed that 65% of ordinary people would electrocute a stranger, simply because an authority figure told them to. The bystander effect showed that the more people witness an emergency, the less likely anyone is to help. Psychology doesn't just study the good in humans. It studies the darkness, the capacity for cruelty, the fragility of morality, the terrifying gap between who we think we are and who we actually are. That is what makes it the most fascinating science ever created. Next time on Psyche Noir. His name was Sigmund Freud. He believed that everything you do, everything you feel, everything you think you want, is controlled by a part of your mind you cannot see, cannot access, cannot control. He called it the unconscious, and it changed psychology forever. Next week. on Psyche Noir. This is just the beginning. Over the coming weeks we go deeper, into the experiments that changed everything, into the disorders that define the darkest minds, into the psychology of criminals, manipulators and killers, into forensic psychology, where science meets justice. If you're curious about the darkness, subscribe to Psyche Noir, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay curious, stay dark.